Let me guess. You're ready to buy your first home, but you are completely and totally stuck. It feels like everyone, from your well-meaning relatives to every scary headline you read, is telling you the same things. You need a perfect credit score, a mythical 20% down payment, and by the way, you're probably buying at the worst possible time in human history. Every late-night Zillow scroll just spirals you deeper into confusion, and that confusion is paralyzing, isn't it? It's stopping you from building your own wealth, from painting a wall a ridiculous color just because you can, from finally getting that backyard, and from owning a real piece of your future. This video is the roadmap you've been missing. My name is your name, and for the last 15 years, I've helped hundreds of first-time homebuyers get unstuck from this exact spot. I've sat at the closing table with people who started right where you are now, overwhelmed, anxious, and pretty sure this was all impossible. We are going to walk through every single one of those nagging concerns, step by step. We're going to turn that anxiety into the confidence you need to finally sign on the dotted line. By the end of this video, you won't just feel ready, you'll have a clear, actionable plan. And hey, if you find this roadmap helpful as we go, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I drop new videos every week to make this whole home buying thing simpler, so you can make smart moves with your money. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the big one, the place where most people get tripped up. The money. The questions I hear are almost always rooted in a fear of the numbers, the fear of not having enough, of making a huge mistake, or of becoming house poor. So let's tackle the two biggest money questions right now. Question 1. How much house can I actually afford? This is, hands down, the most important question in the whole process, and it's where the biggest mistakes happen. So many people think their budget is whatever number the bank pre-approves them for. That is a trap, and it's a fast track to being stressed out and broke. What a lender approves you for is a calculation of their risk, not a prescription for your life. They don't know you want to take a vacation once a year. They don't care about your expensive hobby, and they certainly don't factor in your desire to go out to dinner without having a small panic attack. So, how do we find your real budget? We use a couple of smart rules of thumb. First up is the 28/36 rule. It's a guideline a lot of lenders use, but it's a great starting point for us too. It says your total housing payment should not be more than 28% of your gross monthly income. And your total debt, your new house payment plus all your other monthly debts, should not be more than 36% of your gross monthly income. Some lenders will stretch this to 43% or even more, but trust me, staying near that 36% mark is going to feel a lot more comfortable.
Let's make it real. Say your household brings in $100,000 a year. Your gross monthly income is about $8,333. Using the 28% rule, your max housing payment should be around $2,333. That $2,333 has to cover everything, not just the mortgage. It needs to include property taxes, homeowner insurance, and maybe PMI and HOA fees. We call this PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Using the 36% rule, your total monthly debt should not top $3,000. If you have a $500 car payment and a $300 student loan, that is $800 in existing debt. This means your all-in housing payment should really be no more than $2,200 a month to stay on the safe side. Now, some financial gurus like Dave Ramsey suggest an even safer route. Your housing payment should be no more than 25% of your take-home pay. This is the ultimate safety net. If your take-home is $6,000 a month, your max PITI would be just $1,500. My advice, use the 28/36 rule as your absolute ceiling, but see how close you can get to that 25% take-home pay number. The best way to know for sure, practice your new mortgage payment. If you pay $2,000 in rent now and your new payment is estimated at $3,000, start moving that extra $1,000 into a separate savings account for a few months. If you keep having to dip into it or life just feels way too tight, you have just learned something huge. Your real budget is lower than $3,000, no matter what the bank says. Question 2. How much cash do I need for the down payment and closing costs? This is anxiety hurdle number 2. The myth that you must have a 20% down payment has probably kept more people renting than anything else. Putting 20% down is awesome because it helps you avoid private mortgage insurance, but it is not required for most loans. In reality, the average down payment for a first-time homebuyer is way closer to 6 or 7%. Check out the most common low down payment loans. FHA loans backed by the government are super popular with first-timers, and you can get in with as little as 3.5% down if you have a credit score of 580 or higher. Conventional loans. A lot of people think conventional means 20% down, but that is not true anymore, and there are programs that let you get in for just 3 or 5% down. VA loans and USDA loans. If you are a veteran active service member or eligible spouse, a VA loan could let you buy a home with 0 down, and USDA loans for designated rural areas also offer a 0% option. So on a $400,000 home, instead of needing $80,000 for 20% down, a 3.5% FHA down payment is $14,000. A 3% conventional down payment is just $12,000, which is a game-changing difference. Now, what is the catch? The trade-off is usually private mortgage insurance, or PMI. PMI is an insurance policy that protects the lender if you default on your loan, and it does not protect you at all. It is an extra fee tacked onto your monthly payment, and on that $400,000 home, it might be an extra $200 to $300 a month. The good news is, on a conventional loan, it is not a life sentence you can request to have PMI removed once you have 20% equity, but the down payment is only half the story. You also have to plan for closing costs. This mysterious bucket of fees typically runs between 2 and 5% of the purchase price. On that same $400,000 house, you'll want to budget an extra $8,000 to $20,000. Closing costs cover lender fees, the appraisal title insurance, and prepaying for homeowner insurance and property taxes. One last pro tip, do not forget about down payment assistance programs. There are thousands of these across the country, and they are grants or forgivable loans from state and local governments to help cover your down payment and closing costs. One of the smartest things you can do right now is Google your state down payment assistance programs. You might be shocked at what you find. Okay, you've crunched the numbers, you know how much cash you need, and you're feeling ready. This is all about the first practical steps to get the ball rolling. Question 3. What is the absolute very first step? The answer is simple, and it's totally non-negotiable. Before you look at a single house online, before you set foot in an open house, and before you call a real estate agent, you need to get pre-approved for a mortgage. Let me say that again. Get pre-approved first. Most people think the fun part comes first, finding a house they love. That's emotionally backward, and it's a recipe for heartbreak. You either fall in love with a home you can't afford, or you find the perfect one and lose it to another buyer. A pre-approval is serious business. It's not a quick online calculator. It's a conditional commitment from a lender for a specific loan amount. You'll provide your pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements, and they'll do a full credit check. Why is this so powerful? It sets your real budget so you can stop guessing and shop in the right price range from day one. It makes your offer a weapon in a competitive market by showing sellers you're a credible buyer. It speeds everything up because the lender already has your information ready. Gather your documents, talk to a few lenders, and get that pre-approval. It's the move that takes you from a dreamer to a serious home shopper. Question 4. Should I use a mortgage broker or just go to my bank? Think of it like this. Your bank is like a department store that only sells its own brand. A mortgage broker is like a personal shopper who can take you to any store to find the perfect fit. Your bank offers convenience and familiarity, but only their loans and rates. A mortgage broker works with dozens of lenders to find the best loan and interest rate for you. A broker is a game changer if your situation is tricky, like being self-employed or having imperfect credit. They save you time by doing the legwork and make lenders compete for your business. My advice for first-time buyers is to talk to both the bank and a reputable mortgage broker. Get a loan estimate from each and compare them side by side to see who offers the better deal. You're pre-approved, you found the one, and you're ready to make it yours. This part is exciting, but it's also full of technical details. Question 5. Do I really need a home inspection? Yes, always get a home inspection and never waive it to make your offer look better. An inspection is for you, while an appraiser tells the bank what the house is worth. For a few $100s, a professional will check the foundation, roof, furnace, and more. They give you a detailed report with pictures that becomes your negotiation power. If big problems appear, you can ask the seller to fix them, ask for a credit, or walk away and get your deposit back. Without that inspection, you inherit every problem and risk expensive repairs later. Question 6. How do I make an offer and what are contingencies? Making an offer isn't just shouting out a price, it's a formal proposal your agent drafts up for you. The strongest offers are not just about the highest price, they are about being smart. A lot of first-time buyers think, if I just offer more money, I will win. But winning the house means nothing if you end up trapped in a bad deal. That is why contingencies matter so much. They are not boring contract language. They are your escape hatch if something goes wrong. Think of them like the airbags in your car. You hope you never need them, but if something unexpected happens, they can save you financially. The inspection contingency protects you from hidden nightmares. Maybe the roof is at the end of its life. Maybe the electrical panel is outdated. Maybe there is water damage behind the walls. Without this clause, you could be stuck buying a house that needs tens of thousands in repairs. The financing contingency protects you from lender surprises. And trust me, surprises happen. A buyer can be fully pre-approved, and then suddenly the lender finds a debt issue or employment change. Without this contingency, you could lose your earnest money deposit over something outside your control. Then there is the appraisal contingency, which is one of the most underrated protections in the contract. Let us say you offer $500,000 because you got emotionally attached in a bidding war. But the bank S appraiser says the home is only worth $470,000. The lender is going to base the loan on $470,000, not your offer price. That means unless you have this contingency, you may need to bring an extra $30,000 in cash just to close. This is exactly why smart buyers stay protected. Yes, in aggressive markets, some buyers waive contingencies to look stronger, but for first-time buyers, that can turn a dream purchase into a financial disaster. The goal is never just to win. The goal is to win without putting yourself in danger. That balance between confidence and protection is what makes a professional-level offer. The what-if questions are the fears every buyer has. Now let's talk about the questions that almost every first-time buyer secretly asks themselves at 2 a.m. The fears nobody really talks about. The big one is, should I wait for the market to crash? This question has probably delayed more buyers than almost anything else. The truth is that trying to perfectly time the housing market is almost impossible. Even experienced investors get this wrong. As of 2026, most major forecasts show a much more stable market, not a dramatic crash. Mortgage rates are still hovering in the low to mid 6% range. National home price growth is expected to stay modest at roughly 1 to 2.2% this year, depending on the market. Inventory is improving, but the long-term housing shortage is still keeping prices supported. So waiting for some massive collapse may mean waiting for something that never really comes. And meanwhile, time keeps costing you money. Because here's what buyers forget. Even if prices only rise 2% and rates stay above 6%, the same house next year could cost you more every month. Your buying power can actually shrink while you are waiting. That is why the better question is never, is this the perfect market? It is, am I personally ready? If your income is stable, your emergency fund is healthy, your debt is manageable, and you know you will stay in the home at least 5 to 7 years, then timing matters way less than people think. A house is not a short-term trade. It is where your life happens and where wealth compounds quietly over time. Does buying really beat renting? This one comes down to both math and lifestyle. Renting gives you flexibility, and that is valuable. But financially, every rent payment is 100% consumption. It solves your housing need for the month, but it builds zero ownership. Homeownership works differently because every mortgage payment slowly increases your equity, your share of ownership in the home. So instead of all your money disappearing, part of it is essentially moving from your checking account into an asset you own. That is why people call it forced savings, and over time, that is powerful. Because while renters are exposed to annual rent increases, a fixed-rate mortgage gives you predictability. Your principal and interest stay the same, even while inflation pushes rents and living costs higher around you. That stability alone can be life-changing. Then there is the emotional side, the freedom to redesign your kitchen or paint the walls black if you want. Start a garden, build a nursery, create a home office. It stops being someplace you stay and becomes your space, your rules, your future. And in a 2026 market that is far calmer than the chaos of past years, buying still remains one of the strongest long-term wealth moves for people who are financially ready. So, we've officially walked through the maze. We covered how to figure out what you can truly afford, not just what a lender says on paper. We broke down the biggest myths, like the idea that you need 20% down to buy a home when many buyers get in with far less. We talked about why getting pre-approved before you shop gives you clarity, confidence, and real negotiating power. We covered why a home inspection is non-negotiable, because the right house should feel exciting, not terrifying once the repairs start showing up. And most importantly, we tackled those big fears every first-time buyer has. What if the market crashes? What if I'm buying at the wrong time? What if renting is still smarter? Those questions are normal. Every single serious buyer asks them. The difference is that now, instead of fear controlling the decision, you have the knowledge to make the decision from a place of confidence. Because the goal here was never to turn you into a real estate expert overnight. The goal was to help you go from feeling overwhelmed to feeling in control. From second-guessing every step to knowing exactly what your next move should be. That's the shift that changes everything. Because buying your first home is never just a financial move. It's a life move. It's about stability, freedom, ownership, long-term wealth, and creating a space that is truly yours. And the truth is, you do not need to figure all of this out alone. The smartest thing you can do is build the right team around you. A great real estate agent helps you avoid expensive mistakes. A smart mortgage professional helps you structure the money the right way. A solid inspector helps protect you from hidden disasters. When you have the right people guiding you, the process stops feeling scary and starts feeling strategic. That's when confidence replaces stress. So if you're ready to take that next step and you want to talk through your exact numbers, goals, timeline, and game plan, I'd love to help. There's a link in the description where you can book a free, no-pressure call with me. We'll talk through where you are, what's realistic, and what the smartest next move looks like for you. No pressure, no confusing jargon, just a real strategy built around your goals. And if this video helped make the process feel a little less intimidating, make sure to save it, send it to someone who's thinking about buying, and come back to it when you're ready to start the journey. Thank you for hanging out with me. Seriously, you are so much closer than you think. Your first home may feel like a huge mountain right now. But mountains get climbed one step at a time. And now, you finally know what the next step is. You've got this.